What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Get Real Bass Fishing. Today I am kneeling in the mud in some back bay trying to avoid the wind because it's super windy here right now, but it's a beautiful day and I had to get out and start talking about some fishing products. So I got a bucket with me, and today I want to talk about some products that you should probably start purchasing. So fishing season's coming up really quick. I feel like winter took forever, but now we're getting close to the time when we're gonna start catching fish, and then it just seems like it's moving really fast. So I want to break down some products for you guys, some of the things that I spend a lot of money on this time of year, and I think you should too. First off, I want to start off with probably the most important one for me. We're gonna see some bunker moving into the back bays around, I don't know, maybe late March-ish. It might be earlier depending on some water temperatures and stuff like that, but that's typically the first sign for me that there's gonna be some stripers, because really these fish are following bait. I don't believe it's a temperature thing. I believe it's a bait thing. So the first thing that I think you guys should purchase, and we actually did a video for what you should do if you're just getting started in surf fishing and what products you should probably prioritize in purchasing. And one of those products was a black and purple swimming plug. So a jerkbait style like an SP Minnow or a JoeBaggs Swarters or a Yo-Zuri Mag Darters. When it comes to which ones you should probably buy the most, first, I should say, I would go with a JoeBaggs Swarters, whether it's the 6 or the 7-inch black and purple. That's probably going to be your favorite, especially on Long Island. You're going to catch a lot of fish on that, and I got everything all tangled up as professional as I could be. The old shake. So this is the 7-inch JoeBaggs Swarters black and purple. This is by far one of my favorite baits to throw this time of year, and really for me, I don't really do anything with it when it comes to fishing early spring. At least the less you do, the better. I've tried to jerk the Swimbaits, the SP Minnows, the Swarters, SP Minnows, and the Mag Darters, and a lot of times you're just not catching fish doing what you should do with a jerkbait style bait. But when it comes to early spring, when you cast these bad boys out, these Swarters or the Mag Darters or the SPs, the slower you crank, the more likely you are to catch fish. I don't know what it is, and honestly it's probably the intensity of the striped bass's lateral line. I don't know how they decipher this from a reed going down the water, but they do, and when you're going that slow, you're more likely to catch fish, and then all of a sudden it's just boom, it hits and it's just fighting. Because one thing, it's at nighttime. Most of my luck has been at nighttime in the early spring. So when you're casted out and you just crank it really slow, your hand is freezing, all of a sudden you get poof, and you set that hook and you are fighting a striper in the dark. It's just like your eyes are closed basically, and then all of a sudden a punch and you're getting hit. So if you had to buy one bait first, spend your money, you got 20 bucks a week, go ahead and buy some black and purple JoeBaggs Swarters. Next bait would have to be, I'd have to go with the black and purple Mag Darter. There are times when black and purple won't be the specific color that you're going to be catching fish on, and it might be a yellow. So whatever bait, whether it's the Swarter or the SP or the Mag Darter, black and purple and yellow seems to be the best best baits to fish with at night. Every now and then you'll get a really good night on a bone color bait. So these three colors are usually what I tend to stick with when I'm spending money on baits, but I usually go with, make sure I always have black and purple, and then make sure I have a yellow at least, and then I go with a bone color. There's a lot of down reeds here, so everything's just getting stuck with each other. But when it's a bone color night, it is a fantastic night. You are catching a lot of fish. When it's a black and purple and or a yellow night, you're usually catching really good fish. And they seem to be less in numbers, but like I said, with that bone, if it's a bone color night, you are catching a ton of them for a long time. So those would be my essential, I guess, 3 baits to purchase if you had to and you're just getting started, or you're trying to replace some lures and you're thinking, what should it be? These aren't the only baits that you're gonna catch fish on. You're gonna catch fish on swim baits, guaranteed. You're gonna catch fish on, do I have a metal lip in here? I don't. You're gonna catch fish on metal lips because of that big bunker tail action. You're gonna catch fish like that because essentially, like I said, these fish are following the bait. There's times when you're going to be catching fish in the middle of winter, let's say up into Connecticut. You're going to catch them in the Hudson in the winter, so they're not specifically only coming up because the water is warming up. They're following bait. A little side note, these are not the stock hooks that come on the SP Minnows or the Mag Darters. These are actually Mustad 5 times strong. I'm gonna link those down below for you. Make sure that you change out the stock hooks from the SPs or the Mag Darters, because companies need to make money, so they don't necessarily put the best hooks on there. Go ahead, purchase those hooks. They're some of my favorite, and they stay unrusty and they don't bend out as easily as the cheap ones that come onto these. So do yourself a favor and get yourself some replaced hooks. When it comes to, let's say, a little bit later in the spring, so it's not directly early spring, it's not still freezing cold out, we're gonna start seeing some minnows, some silver sides, the spearing. We're gonna start seeing smaller bait present themselves. When you're going fishing, always look around for bait. Turn your headlight on. People are gonna probably curse you out, but just don't shine it down their way. Turn your headlight on while you're walking. Look on the shoreline. Do you see any bait? Chances are you're going to see killies. Chances are you're going to start seeing some spearing show up. Chances are you're going to see a bunch of what I call booger worms. And to be honest, I have no idea what these clear worms are. I call them booger worms. And once those booger worms show up, man, that's when the bites typically turn on. I don't think that these stripers are going after clear worms, but hey, that's when we've noticed when there's been a lot of bait, a lot of booger worms. That's when the bites turn on. But I've been fishing with the 6th Sense Divine swim bait a lot, and I've caught a ton of 20+ pound stripers on the Divine swim baits. There are a bunch of other products that you can use, but I have Divine swim baits. These are probably some of my favorite swim baits to actually fish with. Super soft, so they got that good action from that paddle tail. I will link these down below specifically because I have a discount code for you guys if you want to purchase it. It's a 10% discount code. I'll put it here and I will link it down below. Every other product that I've used, they work. However, if you want to save money, these are actually less expensive than other brands. And if you want to save an additional 10%, I'll link it down below. I got a whole 3700 size box full of the Divine swim baits. So if you had to, go get yourself some swim baits. Like I said, they're mimicking the spearing silver size. Different colors are going to be mimicking the killies. So once that small bait shows up, it could be a little bit more difficult to actually get fish on larger baits like hard baits or 7-inch or even the metal lips. But when that small bait is there and you throw the small bait presentations at them, you're going to be catching fish. A lot of times I like to downsize to a 7 to 8 foot rod when I'm doing the smaller presentations, strictly because you're using smaller gauge hooks. Now I got a whole 3700 size series box full of some of my favorite jig heads. These specifically are the 6th Sense as well, so if you want to save an additional 10% on jig heads, I've been using these for 2 or 3 years, and like I said, 20-pound stripers. The only thing is you don't want your drag on, like, let's say your Van Staal VSX 200 or a 6,000 size spinning reel for the surf, you don't want that drag set all the way down when you are fishing with the smaller presentations. And that goes for every single brand. A lot of times these are surf hooks. So these are ginormous, like 8/0 hooks meant for ginormous fishing. You know, you're fishing for tarpon and snook and stuff like that. That's when you're going to use those big bulky hooks. But when you're throwing a 4-inch or a 4.8-inch little Divine swim bait, you're not throwing that on a huge 8/0, 9/0 hook. You're going to be throwing it on little 4/0, 5/0s, and maybe a 6/0 hook. And you don't want to bend that out with the power of a medium heavy 10-foot rod with 40 pounds of drag cinched all the way down. So I will link down the jig heads, and I'll link down the swim baits, I'll link down the JoeBaggs, I'll link down all of the Mag Darters, SP Minnows, everything for you guys to purchase. That way you get them before all of the fish come in. And like I said, these products are great. I've caught a lot of fish. It's not just me bullcrapping you guys saying buy these products. I'll link down the playlists from our striper fishing and our bluefish fishing, whether it's from inshore or the ocean or back bay when we're fishing all of these products, so that you can see whether or not I'm telling you the truth or you know, if I'm just bullcrapping you. But I'm telling the truth here. These are great products. These are my go-tos for every early spring presentation. I highly recommend you get at least one of these. That way you have a good spring. I mean, it goes quick. You know, the spring bite goes really, really quick. Once those bluefish turn up, it gets a little bit difficult to find those stripers. So take every chance you can to get onto the stripers before the bluefish show up. And after that, bluefish will literally go after almost anything. So with that all being said, guys, everything's down below. There are other products down there, such as the FROGGTOGGS gear that I have. You saw it in the last video. They're giving you guys 15% off when you use this code, Paulie15. So get yourself a good pair of waders. This is a FROGGTOGGS Puffy. I use the FROGGTOGGS wading jackets and all of those other. They have boxes too, tackle boxes, and the backpacks, as you've seen in my videos. I've been using this stuff for years. So I'll link everything down. I appreciate all the support. I can't wait to see you guys DM me on Instagram and Facebook, all the fish that you're catching. And let me know in the comment section down below if you have a more preferred bait for early spring. But like I said, these are mine, and I hope you guys are having fun, and can't wait to see you guys catch some fish. All right, thank you guys for watching. Stay real, smooch and release, and have some fun on the water. We'll see you next time.
Without my love for the ocean, I would be long gone by now. It's some kind of devotion that brings me